Thanks very much, Tim, for the introduction, and thanks to Share Cafe for inviting us to present today. As was mentioned, my name is Jeremy Robinson. I'm the Managing Director of RareX. We're a rare earths focused company. We're having some exciting results out at Cummins Range, our rare earth deposit in the Kimberley at the moment. I've just returned from a week up there with our geological team, and look, very, very exciting what's going on, and I'll walk you through the story over the next 10 minutes. If we could skip through the next few slides. Yep, that one too. All right, that'll do. So as I mentioned, Cummins Range is our primary asset. We're located in Australia. We think we've got a really exciting proposition up there in terms of what's going on in the rare earth space, and especially in this changing geopolitical environment. We think there's a focus on assets, critical minerals assets in safe Western jurisdictions that aren't welded to Chinese supply chains. So what we've been doing over the last 24 months now, we've upgraded our resource significantly at Cummins Range. We're up at almost 20 million tonnes at 1.15% TREO and 0.14% niobium oxide. Within that, significantly is a high-grade portion, which is what we've been focusing on. We're focusing on this almost 2% TREO core and 0.2% niobium as well. That was on the back of the drilling we did last year. We put that resource out mid-year, and we've been drilling since about April this year. We'll be drilling all the way through to Christmas. The thrust of the drilling this year was to prove the primary portion of our resource, and a lot of people have only focused on the top 100 metres of this deposit. We believe this deposit has got great depth extents, and we're showing that now with the drill bit. So this is all in the background of an exciting time to be in rare earths. You've had rare earth prices increase significantly. They've come up from about $40 a kilo. I'm talking about the NdPr price, which is the main one we track and the main value driver. That's moved from about $40 a kilo up to over $95 a kilo at the moment. And talking to people I talk to in the industry, we're looking at a buoyant industry. We're expecting $120 to $150 a kilo in that pricing scenario over the next couple of years. Last of all, I'll advertise our spin out, Cosmos Exploration. We think we've got an exciting proposition there in terms of focusing on some nickel copper exploration, some unknown part of WA. We're looking at Julimar lookalikes, and we'll talk about that last of all. Skip. So it's worth touching on the board and, of course, our capital structure. We're a relatively tight capital structure, 450 million shares, 43 million market cap, 5.5 in cash and shares, so well funded for what we're doing this year. Our board is worth mentioning. Our chairman, John Young, very successful in the lithium space, was a founder of Pilbara Minerals with Neil Biddle, where I think we're all aware of what's going on in the lithium space. Our view of rare earths is the next cab off the rank. Lithium has just absolutely exploded lately, and we're seeing rare earths play the catch-up game there. Worth mentioning Cameron Henry, who's a founder of Primero Group. He's got a lot of processing of industrial minerals experience, built a hell of a lot of lithium plants around the world, and has experience in rare earths as well, being involved with the construction phase at Mount Weld. Recently appointed our General Manager Projects to drive the scoping study, which we're going to deliver next year. James Durrant, he's in charge of that process and is full steam ahead on our scoping study. Next slide. So as I mentioned, rare earth market, why do we like it? This is all about renewable energy. This is all about growth in EVs and wind power. I think we're all across the EV story because we're all seeing what's happening in the lithium space. But EVs are just set to explode. It's happening. You can't avoid it. It's here and now. The one you're probably not so much aware of is wind power, renewable energy, wind power. There are two main sources of renewable energy, solar and wind power. And wind power installation is growing in leaps and bounds, specifically offshore. People don't want these wind turbines in their backyard, but they don't mind them being out at sea in high wind areas. And those offshore wind turbines are a huge user of rare earths, because rare earths are the best source of, they have the highest magnetic properties, and you need those magnets to drive the conversion of wind power into electricity. So there are our two main growth markets. It's also used in just about everything you use in your day-to-day life. We're talking iPhones, we're talking any sort of robotics you have, probably the windscreen motors in your car, etc. So it's in absolutely everything. You can't get away from this. It's a concentrated supply chain at the moment. It's about 80% China, but the West is aggressively investing in supply chains, and we hope our Cummins range can feed into that. Next slide, please. So as I was talking about, the metals we're focused on are neodymium and praseodymium. Dysprosium and terbium are also of interest to us. We have those in minor amounts, but neodymium and praseodymium are the main drivers, being a light rare earth project. Our product mix is very similar to that exists at Mount Weld with Linus. We've got about 20% NdPr. We have about 0.5% dysprosium, about 0.1% terbium. The prices of NdPr are currently, about $95 a kilo. Fun facts about dysprosium and terbium. Dysprosium is probably trading about $450 a kilo, and terbium is about $1,300 a kilo. So while it's only at 0.1% in our deposit, it is a significant contributor to the value in our deposit. So what we're seeing over this decade is extreme growth. We're looking at prices that should be sustained where they are, and as I mentioned earlier, onto and beyond about $120 to $150 a kilo. Just recently, we put out our ESG framework. This is something we plan to adhere to. We definitely will adhere to it. We developed this in conjunction with PwC. So ESG, environment, social and governance. What are we going to do? We're going to look after the communities we're invested in. And we think rare earths has a significant role to play in the decarbonisation that's going on in the world. And I think you're seeing this thematic play out in a very large way. And we're very proud to be part of this, this revolution. We're adhering to the World Economic Forum principles. And those are that we behave ethically, we believe in the communities in which we operate, and we contribute to the decarbonisation of the world. It's worth mentioning, even before we signed up to our ESG framework, we do contribute about 3.5% of our annual expenditure to the local community through the Kimberley Sustainable Development Trust to the benefit of the Jaru people. This is the people's land that we operate in the Kimberley. So we do believe and act in accordance with our ESG principles. Next slide. So onto the project itself. Where are we? We are in the Kimberley region, as I mentioned, just south of Halls Creek. I've just come back from there this morning, actually. It's starting to get very warm up that part of the world, but look, it's an area that there is a lot of mining going on. You've got iron ore, nickel, gold mines as well. We're just off the Tanami track. It's a very easy place to get around. I can't see any impediments to getting on with what we're doing. It's also worth mentioning in the north of Australia, you have a lot of, well, in Australia in general, in the critical minerals space, but also in the north of Australia, you have a lot of government incentives to develop these projects, the NAIF and the Critical Minerals Facilitation Office, etc. So as we progress through our feasibility study, we will be leaning on these departments to help us fund our projects. So good news for shareholders that we won't be, leaning on them for all the capital. We'll be leaning mostly on the government and their pockets of funding that they provide. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned at the outset, our resource, 19 million tonnes. We're proud of the high grade portion. When we came into this project, we had a belief that there was a high grade component in the middle of this project, and we very much confirmed that with the drill bit last year. And then we've moved forward with that promise, and we came to the view that there was a high grade primary part to this resource, and that's what we have been drilling out over the last 6 months, and I'll talk about that in the next few slides. It's worth mentioning our basket price. As I said, NdPr, terbium, dysprosium are our main value drivers, and currently we're looking at about a $34 per kilo basket price for our rare earths. And it's also worth mentioning the niobium. Niobium is a staggeringly consistent priced commodity, $93 a kilo. It's been like that for the last 20 years, and it could be a considerable value driver to our project as well. So in terms of grade, where do we sit? I thought it's worth to mention why we're chasing that high grade core to our deposit. You look at this graph of our competitors, you want to be on the left-hand side of that. At our global resource, we sit in the middle of a pack, but I'm chasing the 2% grade, which pushes us towards the left-hand side of that graph, which is where we want to sit. I think 2% is where you want to be to develop these projects, and that's very much what we're focused on with our exploration, and it's very much what we've achieved drilling out the oxide last year and what we are achieving drilling out the primary at the moment. Next slide, please. So the drilling we've been doing, this is where we've been drilling. It's a carbonatite pipe. It's the same as very similar to Mount Weld. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. It's a carbonatite intrusive. What we identified in the drilling is these high-grade structures trending northwest, southeast. We think we've got a series of them in parallel. We're focused on the main fault at the moment. We are also planning to test the what we call the northern fault and the southern fault zone. We've initially did 2,000 meters of RC drilling, and now we're on the diamond drilling. We've just recently extended that program out till Christmas. The RC drill rig is also coming back in the next couple of weeks to test some regional targets. So our plan with this drilling is to very much grow the resource, and we're doing that at the moment. We think we can move this thing up from a 20 million tonne resource up to a 30, 40, 50 million tonne resource with some good drilling. Next slide. So this drilling, this is what we've done. The CRX 63 is what we drilled with the RC. Very good results there, 40 metres at 2.4 and very excitingly 10 metres at 4.1. So they're world-class results. CRX 11 we announced it's really hit the primary. That's with the diamond drill bit, and we announced recently we got over 20 metres of very high-grade stuff visually. That's in the lab. That'll be out in the next couple of weeks. The planned hole on that graph, we've drilled that and we've got it again. We plan to step down again in the coming weeks and try and target that primary mineralisation. So what you need to know about Cummins Range is this isn't a story of the top 100 metres. This is a story of a carbonatite that stretches through 1,000 metres, and we expect to continue to chase this high-grade mineralisation at depth. Next slide. This is that main fault in long section. This is to show the lateral extents. We believe it's there. Well, we don't believe it's there. We know it's there. We've seen it you can see it in those photos of the drill core. The top photo there is the oxide, and that's what it looks like in the primary below. So very exciting for us. We've proved our theory, and we're going to continue to grow the resource. Next slide. So our commercialization strategy, how we're going to get this thing to market. Look, initially we focused on building a concentrate facility, producing a monazite concentrate and selling that to existing capacity in China. We then brought it our horizons to looking at the facilities that are going to be built in Australia and selling to them. And even further now, as we fully grow this resource, we're looking at making our own carbonate facility on site, but we're still doing the doing the test work on that at the moment. So next slide, please. Last of all, I'll advertise our Cosmos exploration, our spin out. Everyone's doing a spin out at the moment, but we think we've got a very good one here. We're focused on nickel, copper, gold exploration at our two projects that weren't core to what RareX was doing in rare earths. Burrow East, it's on the western gneiss terrain. It's in a similar setting to what's happening at Julimar with Chalice. And also Orange East, just out of Orange on the east coast of Australia, is a porphyry copper gold hunt. RareX will maintain about a 30% interest in the company and a 25% free carry in Orange East. We're asking for a very modest EV on this listing of 2 million, a bit of a different model to some of the other spin-outs that are going on at the moment. We're raising 5 million. The IPO is live at the moment, priority entitlement for RareX shareholders, and also a general offer to the public. So that's live at the moment. That'll finish probably within a week from now. And look, we're excited by that as well. So last of all, why do you want to know about RareX? We think we have a very good rare earth project in WA. We've recently proved our concept by almost doubling the resource. And look, we think we can double the resource again with what we're doing with the drill bit at the moment. And you put all that into a background of rare earths price and rare earths geopolitical tension, and that, very, very supportive environment for a company like us. And last of all, have a look at our spin out, Cosmos Exploration. That IPO is underway. So yeah, very much encourage you to take a look at RareX and also Cosmos Exploration. We think we have a compelling valuation proposition with only a 40 million market cap. A lot of our peers in the space are trading around the 200 million. So yeah, we encourage you to take a look and consider an investment in our company. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeremy. We've got time for a couple of quick questions, if you don't mind. So are there any major metallurgical issues arising from drilling at the moment? Any radioactive elements?
Look, our deposit is a very low uranium thorium monazite. Monazites, rare earths are synonymous with having radionuclides involved, specifically thorium. If you look at rare earths from the mineral sands industry, for example, they generally run about 5-6% thorium, which is very, very hot. So we run a low thorium monazite, probably 50 to 100 ppm. We also have about 50 to 100 ppm uranium as well, but that doesn't come out in the product feed, so that just goes out to tails. So look, we're comfortable with where we sit, and in fact, we think it's a benefit of our project that it's not a high radioactivity product in the scheme of what the others are producing.
And there's a question here: at what time will offtake partners become interested in the project? And if you look around the globe, you've got major producers in the US and Russia and China. Does Europe become a target market for you? And have you started conversations with the potential government funders there, the export credit agencies, etc.?
Yeah, look, absolutely. We've begun our discussions. Initially, when I came to this business of rare earths, it was very much a China-focused story, but other markets have developed over the last 2-3 years. And yeah, absolutely, we're looking to North America, Europe to sell our product. The funders, yep, they're absolutely there as well. We have CAs with a bunch of them. We hope to conclude a transaction as we finalise our scoping study in the coming year. So yeah, very much we talk to those sort of parties.